welcome to Shovelware Diggers. Our dig team is currently excavating the Softkey Shareware 2000 Hit Games 2CD collection. You can find a link in the video description listing the entire directory structure of this archive. Here's what our diggers have for week 218. For more information on how to join the dig team, simply follow the Patreon link in the video description. Now, without further ado, let's get to it. First up, JP Ronnie has dug up WINGAMES /MS /NAMETHAT. So clearly some kind of game that involves naming things. Well, at least that's what I would assume with a NAMETHAT. We got a moon.wave. Okay, it's the only wave file. DLL sample.db, which I'm guessing is probably a sample database of questions or something. Text and a help file. So what's the help file say? Contents for name that noise. I mean, I know we played a game that we were trying to figure out a phrase based on a sound clip. I don't think this is that though, because it doesn't sound similar. It sounds similar, it just doesn't sound like the same game. What's the overview say? Name That Noise is a game for use with Windows 3.1 or greater. You must have a sound driver to play the WAV files, obviously. Or wait a minute. Okay, this is a game that apparently only has the one WAV file. And the database file here is only 3 kilobytes. In fact, most of the size is in this DLL file here. So that's a little worrying. What if this is like a sample game that only has one sound effect? Okay, so Name That Noise is a sound trivia game. You play the game by listening to sounds and guessing what they are, who said them, or what movie they're from. For example, a WAV file may be a recording of the phrase, "Read my lips, no new taxes." When you press the listen button, the WAV file will be played. Then you may guess who said the phrase. Check your answer, press the answer button to display the correct answer. So it doesn't even keep score? Or, that's a little weird. The sound can be anything that can be recorded and stored in a Windows WAV file. If you have a multimedia compatible sound card, you can record sound bites from movies, TV shows, music, noises, and around the house, or anything else you can think of to use with this game, provided you have the hardware to do that, because most people didn't back in the early 90s. I mean, yeah, every phone has voice recording and photos and video recording and all that stuff now, and even a lot of computers come with that stuff, but go back to the early 90s and most computers didn't, and phones were these big things that attached to the wall that couldn't do much of anything other than call people. So, and also it looks like the registration fee for this game was $5 to a Ben Saladino in Texas, of all places, also on CompuServe. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We got a little window. Very small window. It resizes, but there's no maximize button, so I'm going to guess that, yeah, that doesn't do anything. Well, at least they managed to miss the maximize button, but there's no... It's a resizable border when it doesn't have to be. Anyways, so we got the about screen there. Oh, there's the icon for it. It's got musical notes and question marks, which almost doesn't make sense because you're trying to identify noise, not music, but whatever. Options, just a change directory thing. It's I mean, we're already here and it's got the one WAV file. Is that really all it comes down to? We got make and open. Oh, we do have a sample database. Okay, so it is looking for that DB file. You know, it's possible there might be multiple sounds in that one WAV file. So, okay, so we've got our file here, so I guess let's listen.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Well, I mean, that's obviously the moon landing. Neil Armstrong, moon landing. Anyone else remember that? I mean, I wasn't alive when it happened, but... So I'm guessing if we just hit answer, it says, yeah, Neil Armstrong, first man on the moon. Yay, what's next? Yeah, I was afraid of that. So this Shareware version of the game comes with the one WAV file. Yeah. Well, at least it does come with the ability to make stuff. But yeah, is there any information on the contents of what you actually get if you register? So yeah, I'm looking through the help here. I'm not seeing anything on any extra stuff included when you register, unless the text file has any info on that. But somehow I doubt it. No, even the registration file doesn't say anything about extra files or anything. Although I will point out that this is fully functional shareware. So if you actually go to make here, it actually allows you to edit database files or make your own, and it's like fully functional for adding like more effects to it and everything. So that is interesting that it actually, I just noticed something else. It's interesting that the making aspect doesn't have a minimize button or a maximize button and doesn't have a resizable border. So, I mean, we're getting closer to having it right. Like, that should have at least had a minimize button, but whereas this has the resizable border when it doesn't need it. So yeah, that was Name That Noise, a $5 program that kind of expects you to put your own database together for answering trivia with like friends and family and stuff based on audio clips. And it only came with the one audio clip, and there's no mention of anything else it comes with when you register. So I guess it really depends on if you want $5 for a make your own audio trivia sort of thing. Which, you know, I guess it saves somebody the trouble if they want to put something like that together. But for anybody who wants something to challenge them, like right out of the box, this isn't going to do that. Next up, ZinfidelZT has dug up DOSGAMES /Arcade3 /SUPBLAST. So guess what? I actually know what this is. At least I think I know what this is. Well, those 88 dates aren't, oh no wait, those 88 dates are on the BGI files, never mind. Although the readme.bat is an 89 file, that's kind of, well, it's only 12, it's only 12 bytes big. Wait a minute, there isn't even a readme file in here, though. And also, there's only CGA and HERC BGI files. And yeah, it's saying here, type readme. There is no readme. Ugh, I got a bad feeling this game might be incomplete. Let's just see if it runs. Press a number to choose mode. And well, it has an 800 by 600 mode, supposedly. But I'm kind of better suited for 640 by 480 just with the whole setup here. So we will go 640 by 480. Yep, it's more AF SUPBLAST. That's what I was expecting. So this is a breakout game. So I'm gonna go one player, right player, press a key or button on the mouse. So game select menu. You can do brick wall, falling walls, easy SUPBLAST, medium SUPBLAST, or purchase other games. Now we're gonna go easy SUPBLAST. Okay, there we go. Level 1. So yeah, this is a breakout clone, but it has some very unusual mechanics that can make for some, well, you're gonna see it in a second. So the main thing I want to hit right now are the stars that you're seeing on the field there. Not to mention these oval type shapes on the side, because those are giving me extra balls. Which is kind of important because there's things that can actually make you lose balls in the later levels. Okay, fortunately that was just a short train, but fortunately it didn't interrupt this moment. So yes, the stars actually cause the ball to split into multiple, and it gets a little crazy here. So yeah, the whole idea behind SUPBLAST was to take Breakout and make it just sort of a lot more chaotic, in a sense. Like, I mean, right now we're just playing sort of the first level here, but this does get a lot crazier in the later levels. But you might be wondering if we have to destroy, like, all the bricks. Well, no. You see those, sort of, like, tunnel-shaped icons on the upper left and the upper right? Those are actually the exits. If I'm remembering correctly, anyways. And the idea is, all you have to do is hit one of those with a ball, and the level ends. So we got a ball up there, so... Or no, wait. Oh, yeah, there it goes. It just takes a moment. But then your balls stay in the positions they were in. So you'll see that we actually got the ball up there already hitting the enlarge and shrink items for the paddle. So that's not good. Oh, but we hit one of the level changes. And we also got the capture paddle from something. So I can make the paddle bigger there with the enlarge icon. And yeah, I keep calling it a ball even though it's a square, because obviously this was before circles were invented, but... And I'm just kidding, because that's an old AVGN joke. Yeah, and I don't think the level actually increases until the ball gets close to the paddle. So the ball's going to have to come back down before it will go to the next level. It's close. Let's give it another shot. Oh wait, that's good. Oh no, it missed. Yeah, the collision detection is not super accurate on the blocks. I think you get a little... Yeah, you get a little bit of leeway with the paddle, though. So even though the collision... it just went through the blocks there. I'm not complaining. I hit the level increase. But yeah, the collision's not super perfect unless it's like... Yeah, the paddle's got leeway on the collision, so you don't have to worry so much about that, but... So yeah, we could just increase the level right now if we wanted to, but... Look at this part here. Watch what happens if we manage to get the ball into this section. A little bit of chaos going on. But you'll notice that those little sawtooth-like things were absorbing the ball. So basically the sawtooth blocks will destroy the ball if there's more than one ball on the playfield. See, I've been wanting to cover Moraph SUPBLAST on Ancient DOS games for a while. The problem is that this is not one of those Moraph-ware games that kind of disappeared. Like, I mean, there was a point in time when you could still order Moraf's old, like, dungeon crawl games, and you would get a couple of his other games with that, specifically Super Entrap and I believe the Stones game. But unfortunately, SUPBLAST kind of got lost to time. So hopefully someday I can pick up the full version of this, but for the moment we'll just make do with it being the shareware version here. But yeah, there were other game modes in here as well. So if we actually go out of here and we go, you want to play again, yes. Oh no, wait, that just brings it in there. So we go no. Does a little exit sequence with MW for Moraph-ware. And then asks you to register, brings you back to this screen here. So you want to play the game, go one player again. And there's also just a basic brick wall to play through, but also what's referred to as falling walls. And the falling walls mode is basically... Oh, I accidentally put it on keyboard control. Well, that's not good. But yeah, basically the idea is the longer you play this for, the more the walls fall closer to the paddle. And then eventually more walls will show up from the top. And I think it's the multicolored blocks that caused it to lower. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just multi-hits. Because that didn't seem to lower anything. Or if we also go back into this here, you can see that we can play with the computer. Because there's a multiplayer mode here. So if we actually go into... Well, we'll put it on medium SUPBLAST now. But you'll see that there's a computer player at the bottom there now. So the way this works in 2-player is that player 1 doesn't have command of the full screen. But neither does player 2. So player 2 has to control basically the bottom left section, and player 1 controls the bottom right section, with a little bit of overlap. Funny thing is, I actually do remember the first time I played this game happened to be when I was fairly young. It was at a friend's house, and he actually had this game. And why was the computer not doing his job and protecting the... That was weird. Computer decided not to do his job. But yeah, the first time I played this was at a friend's place, so I actually had played it in the 2-player mode with said friend. So, but yeah, more F SUPBLAST. It's a fun breakout clone that I'm hope to cover on Ancient DOS Games someday, but for now, we'll just make do with a shovelware dig. And our last dig for today from Robert Mackey is WINGAMES/GG/PAPERAIR. Probably something to do with paper airplanes if I had to guess, because, you know, paper, air, paper airplane. Makes sense. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. PAPERAIR. We got a setup folder. Interesting. Let's go back here. So we've got group air, paper air, and remove air. Interesting. We got a bunch of DLL files. Actually, a lot of DLL files. It's kind of weird. Help files, readme, file id.diz. What's the diz file say? The greatest paper airplanes, version 1.0b. Windows program using full interactive 3D animation to fold extraordinary paper airplanes. Unique notebook features, simple VCR style fold controls, color printing of decorated airplane designs, and animated tutorials on the history of flight and paper folding. This might actually be interesting. Oh wow, and I just noticed that the entire contents of this folder here, not counting the setup folder, is 1.5 megs. So yeah, we might actually have some substantial stuff here. What's the readme say? Okay, so the readme is starting with title and shareware version, freely distribute. It's got some release notes, particularly with troubles with video drivers. Find updated video drivers. Okay, this one's kind of weird. It says here, if you are getting an application error that reads something like floating point divide by 0, you probably have an incompatible math coprocessor. The program will automatically attempt to use this coprocessor and will succeed in most cases. If it fails on your system, try the following solution. Okay, this shouldn't ever be a problem. Like, normally if you get a divide by 0 error when you start a program, it's because it's trying to do some kind of timing logic that your computer is doing so fast that it overflows a buffer and then ends up dividing by 0 because of that. But that usually isn't a problem on period correct stuff, so it's very weird that they would call it an incompatible math coprocessor, as if somehow a faster computer is incompatible. Like, someone let me know if this is an actual thing that can happen that isn't simply just having too powerful a system. Okay, well, it technically has a workaround for it, so if it does happen to us, we at least have a way to potentially fix it. But there's also a fonts not appearing properly thing. Keeps giving memory low messages. You know, at least they're being thorough in trying to address various problems that might be showing up, which makes me wonder how expensive this program is. Let's actually take a look at the help file. Okay, the help file doesn't actually have any information about the authors or anything. What about the order file? That'll tell us. Okay, so apparently this program is $30, $29.95, and that's before shipping. Although they have a lot of ordering options, and they even had a toll-free number at the time. So yeah, whoever did this went pretty far to do everything. What's the order form say? Okay, so apparently this was made by a Kitty Hawk Software operating out of Tucson, Arizona. Okay, let's just see if this actually does work right now. So, run the executable and... oh. We actually get like a little animated logo. That doesn't happen often. Oh, it's still doing animated stuff. Okay, that's actually kind of cool how it did that. I like how it had the dithering effect as well. Okay, this is a program that's clearly had a lot of production value put into it. Does it maximize? It actually does. Oh wow. Okay, we're not dealing with simple shovelware here. This is something that actually had effort put into it. So, also there's a little piece of paper that keeps sticking up under there. Okay, so we have a lot of options here. So there's flying, brief history, basic aerodynamics, some airplane terms, and paper airplane flights are presented to get you started. Little history, the basics of the craft, the common paper folds, and how it all applies to paper airplanes is shown. And then 25 planes divided into 5 separate wings are all folded before your eyes in a 3D tape that you control. And the flying section here has this little bird here that keeps looking side to side. Although that seems to be all the bird does. Oh no, the bird blinks as well. So yeah, this section here seems to be just sort of like a history book almost, but with a bunch of vector-drawn pictures, some of which are animated, like with this one here. So it's actually kind of neat too that, yeah, it's all vector artwork. So even if I was to like shrink the window like this, it still looks correct. There's serious effort put into this program. This is not just some random thing. Oh geez, I've got this running at 800 by 600. Imagine how this would look on like a really high resolution monitor nowadays. Because yeah, it's all vector art, so this would scale properly. Yeah, it's even going into topics like aerodynamics here, kind of explaining just sort of the basics of how paper airplanes can even fly in the first place. Now we got a terminology section here so that we can see like ailerons, flaps, rudders, elevators, which are all like basic airplane terms, but kind of technically apply to paper airplanes as well if you put those things onto them. I know a little bit about paper airplanes because I was into them as a kid for a brief period, but I never really stuck with the particular hobby. Like I know how to fold a couple interesting designs, but I never got super deep into it. Okay, let's actually take a look at some of these. So if we go to planes here, greatest paper airplanes and 5 wings of honor. Okay, so they've actually been separated out into the categories I remember. So there's a darts category, which says variations on the schoolyard specials that are fun to fold and fun to fly. These craft are what the kid in you wants. You got the gliders, which was the one I tended to focus on as a kid, which were the floaters and long-distance specialists. Gliders are best in large indoor space or the park on a calm sunny day. You got the jets and bombers, which are a bit trickier to fold. Like this is almost like an in order of difficulty, because darts are easy, gliders are somewhat easy, jets and bombers are not easy. These SSTs and stealth are not easy at all, and then starships are like, you gotta be a paper airplane god to fold these. Okay, so let's see what happens if we click on darts. Okay, so it's got the hammerhead, barracuda, manta ray, marlin, and I'm familiar with all 5 of these. I don't know how to fold all 5, but I'm familiar with all 5 of these. So let's say we wanted to do the marlin. Oh wow. So we've got a little thing here. So yeah, it says folding easy, uses standard letter sheet paper. So, okay, so it folds it in half. Then folds over one corner. Folds over the next corner. Then we do one of these triangular folds. Not all the way down. So notice there is a little bit of an edge still. Okay, interesting. It's not, okay, there it goes. Glitched out for a second. I don't know how that happened. I thought maybe I hit like a limit to how far the Shareware program would go, but no, it just glitched out for some reason. Make a crease to fold at the point. So yeah, it folded it all the way over there. And then it's doing it again. Hey, yeah, it keeps glitching out when it tries to play back. Like, maybe it is a thing going on with the floating point. So I think it was like Control F4 disables the floating point. I think I have to be on the cover page, though. Oh, you know what? Control F4 is probably a DOSBox shortcut of some kind. So I'm going to go into the key mapper here, which you won't be able to see. Yep, Control F4 is the disk swap image for disks. So I'm just going to quickly delete that. I'm not going to save it. So now when I hit Control F4, there it goes. Math code process has been turned off. Please exit and restart the program. Okay. No, it's actually still getting stuck in the same spots that it was getting stuck at before. Okay, I actually decreased the cycles count in DOSBox here, and that seems to be helping. So it may just be that the program was probably going too fast. But yeah, if we keep... Because yeah, see how it's sometimes working now and sometimes not? So there's definitely some kind of speed thing going on there. So yeah, this is actually really neat how it's doing this. And if I was still a kid, I would have definitely really wanted a program like this. Even though, like, I was only into paper airplanes for like a couple years tops. But it was still interesting, the kind of stuff you can do in this sense. It's also nice that it actually has like a print option here. So yeah, and it actually shows you like a layout of what it's going to print. And then you can also select to have art on it. And it has like a couple different... you could even do it as an outline if you wanted to color it in, as opposed to... And it has bottom as well. This is pretty cool. Okay, I do have to see though, does this program have the particular glider that I know how to make? Oh, and we hit the shareware restriction. Darn it. So yeah, so you only get the darts if you're, if you got the shareware version. Because yeah, it was the gliders that I was most fond of making, because I was usually able to get these to work out well. Darts are designed for really fast throwing, which is why I usually wasn't really fond of them, whereas gliders are more about distance, and the throws are usually gentler with gliders, so you don't have to worry so much about just whipping your arm like crazy. So I tended to go for the glider shapes, but unfortunately we don't get to see them. So that was the greatest paper airplanes, and yeah, this was absolutely $30 software. This was not shovelware by any stretch of the imagination.